everyone. Welcome to the Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. It is officially game 24 today. Tyler, Caroline here with you. Producer Liam behind the scenes. What's going on, Tyler?
Liam and I are wearing matching pants.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Where'd you guys get them from?
Both rocking Lululemon. Game day,
Okay.
Lululemon. That's our motto, Liam.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's got to be good luck. So, I mean, if the Oilers win tonight, you got to wear them every single pregame show.
I would actually be very much okay if that became a thing.
Okay,
Just more excuse to be comfortable in the office. Why not? Why not?
No one wants to recap this Kings game, but we have to do it because it's our job on the Giant pregame show. Lost 5-1 on home ice. First time this season that the Oilers have lost back-to-back games. They are 16-7-0 on the season. Great record. We know that the Oilers are doing their thing, but we talk about this every single pregame show.
Yep.
The underlying concern of slow starts. We saw it against the Kraken. We saw it against the Kings. And let's be honest, if the Oilers have a slow start today against the Minnesota Wild, bad news.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, if we wanted to save ourselves the effort, we could have just cut the talk from the last game and just done it again tonight. Because it's like, all right, the goaltending maybe wasn't great. The start was brutal. This team is giving up too many shots. It's just, there's so many problems. At 5-on-5 in the first period, they were outshot 13-4. You can't let that happen consistently in the first period. They were outshot 30-17 at 5-on-5 by the LA Kings, a team that's sitting near the bottom of your division, near the bottom of the conference. And I get it. This team was going to lose games eventually. They were eventually going to lose back-to-back games. Every team in the league does. But it's the fact that you look at their schedule coming up, and it's Minnesota, it's Toronto, it's Boston, it's Carolina. And then you looked at the fact they just dropped games to Seattle and LA.
Right.
If you could have banked those points, you would have been so much more stress-free coming into this big stretch of hockey. But they blew it, and they played down to their opponent, and the start was unacceptable again. It was terrible. It was a terrible game.
One positive, you hovered your hand over the Crystals last game. Tyler had the hottest take saying Darnell Nurse in his first game back from injury was going to score his first goal of the season, and he did.
He did. I couldn't believe it. The Crystals, maybe they do work. Maybe they're starting to make a believer out of me, Caroline. But Darnell Nurse was probably the lone bright spot for the Oilers in that hockey game. He had 5 shots on goal. 4 of them came at even strength. He scored the shorthanded goal as well. He logged a ton of minutes. If there was any concern that maybe Darnell Nurse lost a step or would need some time to get back out of speed, he was kind of quick to hush that because he played great.
Let's talk about what everyone was talking about after the game against the Kings. Connor McDavid's 5-minute major. We want to know what you guys think, so please hit us up in all the chats that we have up right now. My personal opinion, do I think Connor lost control of his emotions? Absolutely. Could Connor have made a better decision on the ice? Absolutely. Do I think a 5-minute major was a little excessive? Yes. I definitely think it was a penalty. However, the refs made their call. During the power play, the Kings ended up scoring 3 goals, buried the Oilers, and now Connor is not facing suspension and he's not facing a fine. But Tyler, what are your thoughts on the 5-minute major?
It's right on the line, in my opinion. We don't see a lot of 5-minute majors given for hits from behind in the NHL. It's actually a big problem in the league. Like, if they called everything the way they called Connor McDavid's hit, I'd actually be okay with that because it's a dangerous play when you got a guy in the numbers like that. Relative to what we see get let go around the league, it maybe wasn't on par with a 5, but if that's the standard moving forward, I'm fine with it. It just needs to be the standard moving forward. It's just got to be consistent. And I mean, this has been a big topic on all of our daily face-off shows as well. The NHL rulebook isn't worth the paper it's written on. It's inconsistent. Every game is different. Every set of officials interprets it a different way. That Connor McDavid play could happen to him tonight, and it likely wouldn't get called. It could happen to anyone. I mean, Connor McDavid could do it again and maybe not get called on it, right? So it's just one of those things that, yeah, I'd like to see that be a penalty all the time, but it's not a penalty all the time. So I'm okay with it being a 5 on McDavid, but it better be a 5 next time he gets shoved from behind, you know?
Absolutely. Consistency is key. Some Lamborghini Perlini news.
Yeah, the Oilers making a roster move today. Devin Shore is going to be back in the lineup, so they had to make room on the 23-man roster. So to do that, Lamborghini Perlini is on waivers, so every team's going to have a crack to pick this guy up for free. I mean, when you look at who gets through the waiver wire, I don't think anyone's taking a chance on Brendan Perlini. He's probably going down to Bakersfield, which is fine. I mean, he had his great run, and all the memes were good in the preseason, but he doesn't do anything for me. He doesn't really kill penalties. He doesn't skate too well. He's not producing offense in the bottom 6. Devin Shore at least can play center and kill penalties, so it's an easy choice.
You ready to move on to the opposition report presented by Yeg Burger? Let's get the Kings game over with, guys. It's a new day. We're taking on the Minnesota Wild today. Obviously, a very, very big game for the Edmonton Oilers. The Minnesota Wild are 17-6-1. They also lead the Central Division. They're coming off of a big 4-3 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was a really good game if you guys caught that. And they're on a big 6-game winning streak. A tough opponent for the Oilers once again. And like we said earlier in the show, the Oilers cannot have a slow start.
No, they absolutely cannot. And this Wild team, they're an absolute wagon. They've won 6 in a row. They've beaten good teams in that stretch as well. They got wins against Tampa, Toronto, and Winnipeg over that. Not only are they the best team in the Central, they're the best team in the West. Their 17 wins is tied for the most in the NHL, and they do it in a way that a true Stanley Cup contender does. They have solid goaltending from Cam Talbot. Yeah. They don't give up a lot of shots at 5-on-5. They're top 10 in 5-on-5 shots for percentage, top 10 in 5-on-5 goals for percentage. The only area where the Oilers have an advantage tonight is on the special teams. Minnesota 29th in power play percentage, 18th in PK percentage. So that's probably how Edmonton's going to have to win this game. Get off to a good start, forecheck hard, force the Wild to take some trips to the box, and let your power play do the work. As much as I would love to see the Oilers come out and just play a great game at 5-on-5 and win this hockey game and get the 2 points that way, I just don't think it's going to happen against this Minnesota team. They're simply too good. So Edmonton's probably going to have to be good on the special teams and get good goaltending. We'll get into the lineups in just a second as well for the Oilers. But this Minnesota team is legit. This is going to be their toughest test between now and Christmas probably.
Let's talk about the lines for the Minnesota Wild and maybe some key special players on this team.
Yeah, let's dig into it. The Wild's top line has been absolutely fire during this winning streak. Ryan Hartman, Matt Zuccarello, and Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. 11 points in his last 5 games. That trio on the top line has combined for 10 goals in their last 5 games as well. The second line, Joel Eriksson Ek, a guy who was so close to being an Edmonton Oiler. He was used with the pick that they probably would have, or they would have taken Eriksson Ek if they didn't acquire Griffin Reinhart. He's playing with Jordan Greenway and Marcus Foligno. The third line is Victor Rask with Rem Pitlick and Kevin Fiala. Nico Sturm with Nick Bukestad and Brandon Duhaime. The D pairings, Jonas Brodin with Matt Dumba, John Merrill with Alex Goligoski, Jordy Ben with the former Oiler Dmitry Kulikov, and between the pipes, it's going to be Dadbot, the former Oiler, Cam Talbot, 13-5 on the year, 271 goals against average, 915 save percentage. I'm looking here, mistaken Mexican in the Twitch chat. We get inconsistent Oilers Talbot tonight. And, last time he was an Oiler, it was exactly that, inconsistent. So he was that's how long we've been talking about the Oilers' bad starts and letting in the first goal. That was a big problem with Talbot. So maybe the Oilers will get lucky and get a first goal from Cam Talbot tonight.
Let's talk about the lines for the Edmonton Oilers and Mikko Koskinen getting the start again between the pipes.
Yeah, they're going right back to Mikko Koskinen. And again, he wasn't great against the LA Kings, but he wasn't bad at all. And at the end of the day, before the 5-minute major, he had only given up 2 goals. So he did enough to keep the Oilers in that game through 54 minutes. There's some quick Yaremchuk math on the spot for you. But yeah, I don't have a big problem with Mikko getting the start again. We do have some new look forward lines for the Oilers. McDavid back up with Hyman and Puljujarvi. Draisaitl with Nuge and Yamamoto. The third line is going to be McLeod with Fogle and Cassian. I like the look of this trio. I think when you look at who the Oilers kind of have to potentially put in that bottom 6, this trio gives you the most upside and the most ability to have a third line that can consistently bring you energy and offense. Derek Ryan with Devin Shore and Colton Sevier on the fourth line. I like that Sevier stays in. I think he's done a lot of really good things. Devin Shore back in the lineup maybe gives them a little bit of a boost. The D pairings are Nurse with Bouchard, Niemelainen with Barry, and Broberg with Chris Russell. So despite William Laguson's agent coming out and basically being upset that he gets healthy scratched. Laguson's not in the lineup. He's healthy scratched again. Niemelainen had that big hit against Dustin Brown, so he will stay in the mix on a pairing with Tyson Barrie. I like that they're going Nurse and Bouchard again as well. I think that right there is a legitimate top pairing for the Edmonton Oilers. Bouchard, I know he's young. He's not too experienced, but he's legit. And we talked about that on the last pregame show. Him and Bouchard are capable of playing 25-plus every night.
Are the Crystals giving you any type of feeling that Nurse or Bouchard's gonna get a point tonight?
Oh,
or you're not feeling it?
I'm maybe not feeling it.
Okay.
I only want to say it if it really comes from the heart.
Don't push it.
But
Go ahead.
Darnell Nurse is the topic of my bet of the game, so why don't we dig into the points bet
Go
betting
ahead.
report. Darnell Nurse over 2.5 shots. I mentioned it. He had 5 in the last game. He's going to play a ton of minutes. I like Darnell Nurse to put at least 2.5 or over 2.5 shots on net. The payout's not great, around minus 140, but I'm taking it anyways as your bet of the game. Somehow the Oilers are favorites in this hockey game, which makes no sense to me. The fact that if it was a pick'em, I would still be kind of scratching my head going, what's happening here? I get they're 9-2 on home ice, and there's probably a lot of public money on the Oilers because big fan base and all that. But, the Wild as underdogs is a bit of a head scratcher here. They're the best team in the conference, one of the best teams in the league. The Oilers have been slumping lately. It's confusing.
The only reason I like when the Oilers are underdogs is because you bark on the pregame show.
Yeah, and we almost got that today, but wasn't in the cards.
It's a special night for the Oilers. Quickly, Zodiac report, Kyler Yamamoto has been struggling as of late. He has not been playing his best hockey. Oilers fans not exactly impressed with Kyler Yamamoto's performance. 5 goals, 1 assist on the season so far. Safe to say he needs to get going here and start producing points. But let's see if the Crystals can bring him some luck tonight. I really felt his energy when I was doing the report today. He's the Libra. They're known for not shying away from the spotlight, working hard and wanting their team to be happy. So hopefully a big game and a big performance from Kyler Yamamoto.
Just rolling through the chats we have open here over on Facebook. Chris said, let's go Oilers. Who's in net tonight?
Woo!
Koskinen. David agreed with the penalty for Connor McDavid, said it was a hit into the numbers. I bleed oil, but it was a penalty. Jonan wants Talbot back. And Babley said, don't jinx the Oilers either. And then I got to give some love to the Twitch chat, because if I don't, then I have like 8 people tweeting me telling me I'm intentionally ignoring the Twitch chat.
We're not ignoring anyone, guys. We promise.
Bearded Brad said, what's the chance McDavid bodies someone tonight again? He also added in there that maybe we get the pissed off, angry Connor McDavid in this hockey game.
Which is never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing at all. He's still been putting up numbers as of late, but there is something. When McDavid has that chip on his shoulder, he usually finds a way to get his game up to another level. So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if we get like a real angry, strong performance from McDavid.
That's my favorite kind of Draisaitl. When Draisaitl scores, but he still looks pissed off. I love it. They go into some different kind of alternate universe there.
Frosty Viking likes Niemelainen's physicality. Kylie in the chat says, I really do like Lagesson in the lineup, but I think Broberg has been contributing more. I 100% agree with that. And also, she pointed out something that the Oilers played the Wild like on this day a few years ago.
Yeah, so Kylie, shout out to Kylie on our Instagram. She said she predicts the Oilers win 7-2 because it's no coincidence that was the score against Minnie 3 years ago today. So that's Kylie's take maybe with the Crystals. She felt that energy today, and maybe we'll see the Oilers pull out another 7-3 win. It's in the cards.
She also said, we love Libras in all caps in the Twitch chat. So
Kylie, I love you. Thanks, guys, everyone, for tuning in to the Giant pregame show presented by the one and only Sherwood Ford. We'll be back here next game day, and I'm hoping it's a special and big night for the Edmonton Oilers. They cannot get off to a slow start.
Cannot lose 3 in a row.
Yes, absolutely. What Tyler said.